Yeah, sorry about that delay and the new link. I'll just post it later. So welcome again. We're live and alive in a living color with here the episode 4 of Pop and Wrestling podcast with me, Coach 23. Sorry about the delay. There's a glitch. I don't know what happened on my YouTube studio page or channel, so I'll just fix it up later. Especially for the people I promised or send the link. I'll just send a new one. So yeah, like I said, it's a good Wednesday morning, and lots to unpack here. So first, we'll talk about NXT review. Then we'll talk about wrestling movies and TV shows, most famous ones, and lastly, the famous debate about work from home versus work from on site in terms of BPO or maybe other areas of employment. So yeah, again, good morning. It's Coach 23. Hope you guys are in good shape, good health. Hope you took your breakfast and now we're on brunch. Eating lunch. For me, I'll be just cooking a fried egg for me and rice. And I'm a simple guy. So yeah, let's talk about some of the deals. Give me one second. Let me open my notes. Okay, so NXT on their second show in the CW, emanated from St. Louis, Missouri. So opening segment was Strick Williams opening doing a celebration for being a two-time NXT champion, beating All Ego Ethan Page last week at Chicago NXT in Chicago. Then, while he's doing a celebration, Wesley decided to interject. So, and it's quite surprising because not really surprising at all because of what Wesley's performance last week by beating his old partner Zachary Wentz, and uh, he's challenging him for number one title or not number one contendership, but a title shot for the NXT Championship. Then guess who came in to join the celebration? Intercontinental Champion main event Jey Uso just went there to celebrate with Trick. That's it. I'm not going to say it's a waste of segment, but it's just weird that Jay was there and he did the celebration with him. But it's okay. I mean, it's all good. But fast paced segment or programming. North American champion, women's champion, Kalani Jordan, joined the celebration along with WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. Now, this is the tricky, I'm going to say this is like the slap in the face of those media people who ask the representation issue in WWE. Because look at the five people at that ring at the time. Those are people in color. One is Samoan, other are African American people. They're champions. They are all champions there. But yeah, Kelani Jordan, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair teamed up to face Fatal Influence. In a for me an entertaining six women tag team action. Again, similar with what happened to Raw yesterday. The Good Girls won, and with Kelani Jordan taking the pinfall for the victory for her team. I'm sorry, and celebration continues again. For this one, Fatal Influence, I guess they're challenging or they're trying to uh, have a shot or get a shot from Kelani Jordan's North American title. Don't know which uh, female wrestler is going to challenge her for that championship. But in the future, hopefully there will be. And Kelani Jordan has significantly improved during the past year that she's been in NXT. So it's actually a great match whoever she'll be facing down the line. Next up, there was a segment between Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. They're teaming up. They're friends, obviously, backstage or in real life, and they had a couple of feuds or dust up of the last past year, and now they're teaming up. Their team up reminds me a lot of Shawn Michaels and Triple H way back in the DX days. Not the 2006 version, but the not maybe similar with the 2006 version to the 1998 version or 1997 version. But they're because they're best friends and they're trying to hang up. So it's not really. I'm not going to compare them to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez because Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan looks like Shawn Michaels and Diesel back in the day. When Liv is the champion, Snow is she's the star, and Raquel Rodriguez now, which is Diesel's position, is like the bodyguard. But yeah, an interesting dichotomy between the two, the four women. But then again, during that segment, Julie came out and they were like challenging her to come to the ring, but she brought a partner, and that partner was or is Stephanie Baker, making her live NXT debut, and they attacked, you know, the tag team or the team of Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez, and they picked up the title, the NXT Women's title, at the same time. So I'm smelling a triple threat down the line, or possibly even a four women's tag team, including Cora Jade. But who knows? But it was an interesting or actually a great segment as well, showcasing four women. So imagine back-to-back segments for NXT are women. That's how deep the women's division of NXT. And like I said last Monday, I believe that there are the deepest, best booked women's division in wrestling. Sorry, Marigold. Sorry, Stardom. Sorry, WWE main roster women's division, and even AEW or TNA. But NXT has the best booked women's division, and it showed just because of this back-to-back segments. Um, then another segment that happened, no core catch crew and Lex King talking to each other. Lexus King is, for me, he needs a little bit of not push. I mean, he's obviously being pushed by Shawn Michaels. He's a talented guy. He just needs to showcase something. And one of the things that maybe he could learn is, you know, um, I really hope that he has or he really transformed to that Luke Cannon persona that his father did before him. His father obviously is Brian Pillman Sr. And Brian Pillman is was actually one of the underrated great characters during the late 90s, middle mid 90s, late 90s, especially that loose cannon persona, that ticking time bomb persona. There's even like a story from Chris Jericho's book that he went to ECW before going to WWE after leaving WCW, that he was asking for a belt, a leather belt, because he forgot to belt. And one time he showed up at the ECW arena wearing two belts because who doesn't, right? But yeah, I hope that Lexis King really, burst out to his shell and became a good character. He is a good wrestler. There's no doubt about it. He really needs to do something with his persona. Lexis King is fine, but he needs to add another layer to that. Maybe another add a heater, or in wrestling parlance or talk, a bodyguard, an insurance policy. I heard that Anderson is free. Could be a great dichotomy as well. That's my baby. Great dichotomy between the two because their fathers were a team, or sort of, in WCW during the Four Horsemen era. So imagine that. Next up, the North American Championship match between defending champion Ova Femi against Tony D'Angelo of the family. Great match, hard hitting. For me, for a TV match, kind of short, but it's really entertaining, hard hitting. Um, they have great chemistry. Uh, Tony D'Angelo is a great, for some people who doesn't know, Tony D'Angelo is a great amateur wrestler, but he added a character on on personally, and to make the family. So he's like an Italian family. It's like the Godfather. Um, but he is a great wrestler. He could be a great technician if given a chance. And his build is actually even impressive now compared to last year or 2 years ago during NXT 2.0. But yeah, suplexes, spine busters, he can deliver. And the way he threw Obafemi, like Obafemi was like a cruiserweight, is really, 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 really impressive as well. Obafemi, what can I say about him? If I saw him or I see him walking towards me, I'll walk the other way. Or even if I don't know him, I'll just give him my lunch money, and I'll tell him I'll give you the rest or the rest of the week tomorrow, because that's how scary this dude is. If you splice the DNAs of Batista, Brock Lesnar, and Bobby Lashley, you'll get Obafemi. The guy is raw, really, really raw, and obviously talented. And the guy, for a big dude like 6'5", 6'6" dude, he sells. When you say sell, how you sell for your opponent. Really, really impressive and well. I was really impressed back then when he was doing that with smaller wrestlers like Dragon Lee, Wesley even. But now when he's facing guys like back then Dijak, I'm sorry, Dijak, who else? Josh Briggs and now Tony D'Angelo. He's really good. He's really, really good. This guy's main roster. I'm not going to say he's main roster ready, but what I predict on his future is an NXT championship. I don't know when. Who knows? The coronation could be, if ever, let's turn Trick Williams heel. Now I know he's the most over NXT superstar right now. With that whoop, that trick, yeah, obviously for that. But what if we turn him heel and have him face Obafemi, or even Obafemi as a heel versus Trick Williams, and let's have them face at NXT Stand Deliver during WrestleMania week. That would really, really be impressive. But now Tony D'Angelo won. So Obafemi cemented his status as the longest reigning North American champion for NXT, and but he lost to Tony D'Angelo. For this one, I think the right man won. I'm not saying that I don't like Obafemi's run as the North American champion, but I think it's time for him to move on to bigger and better, or grander pastures, and I think that's the NXT Championship, if not being the main, called up to the main roster. But knowing Shawn Michaels, Matt Bloom, all those coaches in NXT or the Performance Center, I think they'll give Obafemi maybe a year more before transitioning him to the main roster, and maybe that's where or where and when the NXT Championship comes to mind. But yeah, congratulations to Tony D'Angelo, the new North American champion, and I believe it was already signed up or official for a celebration next week for NXT Tuesday. Then next up, backstage segment between Nikita Lyons returning with Ava Rain, General Manager Ava Rain, and Lola Vice. Lola Vice is demanding a match against Jada Parker. Um, I believe it was Jada Parker. Yeah, I believe so. I forgot. Sorry, but she's demanding a match. But Nikita Lyons is returning, and sorry about that. Returning. So I believe there's a match between them. Maybe some probably next week or maybe the next few weeks. Afterwards, the second championship on the line for NXT, then NXT Tag Team Championship. Fraxium, Nathan Frazier and Axiom defending the tag team championships against the team of A Town Down Under. So for me, Frazier and Axiom is my tag team of the year. I don't care whether you're in WWE, AEW, TNA, North Japan Pro Wrestling, Indie Wrestling. For me, the tag team champion, tag team of the year, are the current NXT tag team champions, Nathan Frazier and Fraction. Are Action. They're really, really good and fast, man. Their combination. I know they're building a tension of like a split, even during not earlier this year, mid this year. But they're still the tag team champions. Probably the split will happen probably next year. Who knows? A match between these two at Stand and Deliver as well will be really, really exciting. Even them, they can actually hang on with the bigger wrestlers, with veterans as well. I believe they faced the Good Brothers before, OC, Gallows and Anderson. and now they're facing guys from the main roster like A Town Dunn under who actually won at the SmackDown Tag Team Champions or WWE Tag Team Champions at the championship at WrestleMania, and you know they have great chemistry as well. I believe these four gentlemen are the future of WWE. I certainly believe that. Give me 1 second, folks. So yeah, sorry about that. My kid is actually messing up her his milk. It's expensive. Milk is expensive, guys. um, so yeah, for this match, fast-paced match as well. But even for a TV match, it has a good quality match quality. The tag team of Frazier and Action won for this tag team title match, which is actually the best route to continue their reign. And I won't say dominance because they're not really that dominant as a tag team, but they're really, really, really good. So imagine Shawn Michaels good even if he's in a tag team of this age. So that's how good Fraction is. I call him Fraction so because he shows short. And next up, a main event. Sexy Red, St. Louis' own Sexy Red, did a mini concert. And during that mini concert, all ego Ethan Page showed up and tell everyone that the concert is canceled, demanding of another NXT Championship match against Rick Williams, and then of course transitioning to the main event. Javon Evans came out, attacked Ethan Page, threw him out of the ring. They danced, he danced with Sexy Red, and main event is up next. The main event, which is St. Louis' favorite son, the Viper, the Apex Predator Randy Orton against young Javon Evans. So it's one of the oldest currently in WWE today against one of the youngest, if not the youngest. I believe Javon Evans is just like 20 years old, and he held his own against Randy Orton. But it's a typical TV match between a veteran and a young one, a young guy. But man, Javon Evans has hops. He can jump. He can bounce. Really, that springboard cutter with that height, it's really really impressive. He did that to Randy Orton. Although it's a good match, back and forth even. Randy Orton did his typical move set, especially the back suplex backbreaker combination of him throwing the wrestler to the table. He did it like 3 times or 4 times, and so it's like as Booker T and Vic Joseph told the during the announcer uh, commentary that this is your teaching moment, young man, and it's good. I'm not saying he needs to bulk up, but when he was standing with Randy Orton, it's like really really small. Um, but I get it will hinder his bounciness because call him bouncy. But yeah, that's it. A sad part is I believe he was doing like a spinning 360 move that Randy Orton has to catch him with an RKO, but they messed it up. Mistimed. Then just Randy Orton picked him up and just delivered the RKO in a normal way and not out of nowhere. So that's the only sad part of that match. But it's really an impressive match, TV match. For me, the match of the night is the tag team championship match. No, I'm sorry. Match of the night is Tony D'Angelo versus Oba Femi, with Tony D'Angelo winning his first championship title. I mean, I know I believe he's a Heritage Cup champion, but you bring a trophy, but holding a title. This is the first one. He's been a tag team champion, but singles, it's the first one. So yeah, NXT in the CW. Now, here's a minor thing. Tomorrow will be episode 5 of the Pop and Wrestling podcast. I was supposed, or one of the topics supposed to be AEW review. This is a fraudulent slip. I know this for like a month after they announced that there'll be AEW Dynamite and NXT will go head to head today, which I totally forgot right now and yesterday. My fraudulent sleep. So tomorrow I will not be able to give the AEW review, Dynamite review. However, I'll tell the topic later, but it's going to be an interesting one as well, and it's a highly debatable topic. Um, Next up on our list is wrestling in movies and TV shows. So it's actually a weird one because if you're a fan for of wrestling for quite some time, a long time or whatnot, you know that John Cena is an actor, Dwayne Johnson is an actor, Randy Orton's foray, John Moxley, Seth Rollins, I believe, is part of Captain America: Brave New World next year. Hopefully, he's not cut from scenes, but there are leak rumors that he's still there, but not really a significant, portion of it. Most of the wrestlers, when you ask them, they are asked if you're going to be an actor. Normally, the character of the pro wrestler or the wrestler will be a police, a soldier, firefighter, a thug, those stuff, those characters. So I wrestling is really weird because it's part of entertainment in not just in the US but in the entire the entire world. But it's being seen as you know a dark side of entertainment, or not really that not part of a mainstream entertainment because it's weird. I don't know why. It's part of entertainment, but even Hollywood stars, they like pro wrestling. Matthew McConaughey, Academy Award winner. All right, all right. He's a fan of wrestling. Uh he's a good friend of the Undertaker. He's a fan of WWE pro wrestling. Uh, Athletes or former athletes like Shaquille O'Neal is a fan of wrestling, or WWE even. Competed at the Battle Royal at WrestleMania 32. Dennis Rodman, way back in the 90s, competed uh, with Hollywood Hulk Hogan against Lex Luger, the Giant, and the next heroes Diamond Dallas Page and Karl Malone even. But wrestling has been, relegated to like, you're like the red-headed evil stepchild of entertainment. But they're not. Wrestling is really, really, a good form or a great form of entertainment. So there are a couple of movies and TV shows that they made or Hollywood made for wrestling. The earliest that I've known during the 90s is Ready to Rumble. A WCW Warner Brothers produced movie about really WCW. Uh, it's an entertaining comedy action movie. It stars Oliver Platt, a brilliant performance of Oliver Platt as Jimmy the King, supposedly a made up character for WCW, and he was the WCW World Champion. Uh, with teaming up with fans, super fans, uh, Steve Kahn, yeah, Steve Kahn, and James Cahn's son, Steve Kahn, or no, Scott Kahn. I'm sorry, Scott Kahn, and former WCW World Champion David Arquette. This was actually a surprise because back then I know that, as I said yesterday, that I know wrestling is predetermined, scripted, choreographed environment. But there are times of how they nor I this was actually opened my eyes of how they contact, because I was still reading books back then, magazines, and normally when they're doing interviews, like, yeah, we talk to the back, what we talk in the back, we're saying what we're going to do in the side of the ring or what we're going to do in this move set, and um that's it. So in my mind, how they communicate in the ring, and Ready to Rumble was the first one because, yeah, I believe there's one particular scene when Oliver Platt or Jimmy the King was like giving Diamond Dallas Page a arm lock. Then Diamond Dallas Page whispered that, yeah, throw me in the ring or throw me in the rope. So that's how they communicate, and that's the magic of wrestling. That's how the magic of how they talk to. There are times that even wrestlers, like doing the interviews, like when they're talking, like they're screaming at each other. John Cena said in an interview in the Graham Norton show in the UK that sometimes when they're shouting, they're actually saying good things about each other. So it's really really funny and it really in a nice way, in a good way of how they communicate in the ring. But respect to Ready to Rumble, it's actually made for just for WCW to keep up afloat. A lot of WCW wrestlers were there. Goldberg, Sting, like I said, Diamond Dallas Page was there. Ernest Cat Miller, I believe, was there. Uh, just an entertaining, popcorn, video rental tape movie, type of movie. I am not saying that they didn't show respect to the wrestlers or the wrestling world, but in their small way, they did. Then another movie, and this is a highly recommended movie by me, in my opinion, to anyone. I don't care if you like wrestling or not, but it's really a great movie. It's not a wrestling movie, but it's a movie about wrestling as well. The wrestler, Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler. I believe it was shown 2007 2008. Stars Mickey Rourke as Randy the Ram Robinson, an indie wrestler with this, a height which was popular back then in the early 90s. So another made up wrestler. Really, really good and great movie. One of the best movies I've seen in my life. And not because it's because of part of the wrestling business. They didn't even mention WWE, WCW, and TNA back then. Although TNA and Ring of Honor was showcased at the time there, or mostly Ring of Honor. But it's the story of an old wrestler during maybe in his 60s trying to relive his you know his life as a pro wrestler. And what happened? I'm not going to spoil the movie because, like I said, I highly recommend it to people, to fans, to watch it because it's really, really, really good. Um, the ending was great. Everything. I haven't seen anything bad or negative about that movie. Uh, Act one, Act two, Act three. I mean, the middle, start, the beginning, the middle, and end of the movie. It's terrifically acted. It's terrifically directed, written. In my opinion, Mickey Rourke should have won the best actor back then, but it's my opinion. But it's really a great movie, and like I said, I highly recommend that wherever streaming service, video, how you watch your movies, watched it. I highly recommend that movie because it's an amazing movie. I cannot say any like I said, cannot say anything bad about it. Um, it's an independent movie, but everything, everything's almost perfect. Nothing's perfect in the world, but for me, it's almost perfect. And another show that I highly recommend for you guys, for the wrestling fans to dwell on, is Heels. Stephen Amell, Alexander Ludwig's TV show Heels. I believe it's not shown in Netflix here, but in Netflix US and international waters, I believe they're being shown. It's an independent story about an independent wrestling company called the Duffy Wrestling League. That's owned by Stephen Amell's character Jack Spade. So it's a story about brothers. One is a babyface, one is a heel, and how the wrestling business, you know, went into the middle of their family relationship. Um, the character of Stephen Amell is the heel. He's the heel, and Alexander Ludwig is the babyface. But if in reality, in that show, it's a different dichotomy. It's a different setup. Stephen Amell is like the father, the husband, the brother, the son, who's trying to keep the business afloat, and Alexander Ludwig's character, who's supposed to be the babyface, uh, Ace Spade, is kind of the rebellious, heelish character. So it's a great dichotomy of the pro wrestling independent show as well. CM Punk was a guest there, or is a guest there. and as well as Mick Foley. So there are like pro wrestlers back then that are showcased there. It's a good show. It ran for 2 seasons. Hopefully, if it's picked up by Netflix, like we can have a season three. But according to Stephen Amell, he doesn't see season one and season two because it's like an 8 episode seasons. So it's 16 episodes in total, but he doesn't see a split because after episode of season one, episode 8, there's no really time jump. It's like a 5 minute, 2 minute time jump. That's it. So it's like should be combined. So season two, episode one should be like season one, episode 9. That's how he saw it. But hopefully it gets picked up by Netflix because as the popularity of Suits that happened in Netflix, it got picked up by or will be rebooted or I believe a soft sequel from the Suits in Netflix and the USA Network or NBC. They're picking it up. So also, ironically, will starring Stephen Amell as the new star or head lawyer for that show, Suits LA. It's good shows as well. Maybe I'll break it down or something or do a review of the show the next time. But yeah, those are the wrestling movies and that our wrestling fans or wrestling fans should see. A couple of weeks or months ago, there's this company. I'm not going to name them. I don't want to get sued or slandered or whatever. But this is just my opinion. Being, like I said, I've worked for the BPO for the BPO industry for a decade and a half. Now I'm a freelancer. Uh, this is the debate between work from home and working on site. Um, I believe episode one, if you follow my TikTok page, I said that I like working from home now. Back then, I did hate it because if I'm working on site, I don't want to bring my work at home because I want just to spend time with my family, spend time doing my personal things, personal stuff. But then 2019 came, 2020 came, pandemic happened, everything went to heck, and now people who are working on site were relegated working from home. At first, I hated it. I did hated it because I don't really want, I can't help it. I'm not saying I'm a hardworking guy. If I'm going to describe myself, I'm the laziest hardworking guy I know. I'm lazy doing things, but I'm a hardworking. If you give me, the chance. I mean, right now I'm a freelancer working for a client. Hopefully, I get another one or land another one. So there are times that even if I'm, resting, I can't help myself opening up my system, checking if there are files that I have to work on. So that's how my life working from home is. I can't just help it. But yeah, this company told a lot of things. They did this viral, company video that they posted online that sorry, my hair is messed up. That work from home is, bad. Work from home is like, you know, makes people complacent, lazy, in their words, dumb, or those type of lines. I don't think so. This is my personal opinion. I work for, like I said, as I work as freelancer for a financial company in the states, and there's an instance last year that even my boss, the CEO of the company, is asking me what process is this because he has no clue, but I did or I have, and I told him this is the process or this is how things are being dealt with, and like, ooh, that's great. So I don't think that people working from home are complacent, lazy, or not gaining new knowledge because I don't think that's particularly true. I don't mind people working on site, but there are hazards and danger of that. That's why most companies, especially BPO companies who works at night, they're giving hazard pays to their employees because of the dangers of traveling, whatnot. Imagine, I don't know why I was outraged because I believe I was really really like Who are these people to tell people, other people that, working from home is, makes people complacent? Could be. It depends on the people. It really depends on the person. If the person wants to be complacent, then it's by all means be complacent. But not everyone is or are complacent or lazy. Most people who works in the freelance or are working from home have two, three, four, five clients. If you saw, KMJS last Sunday, two sisters who are VA or virtual assistants who are working from home are earning, six figures a month. Imagine that. And you dare tell people that most people are working from home are complacent and lazy. That's pretty idiotic for me to say that. And I'm not saying that negatively against working on site. I given the chance that, I, stop working from home and I just, wake up one morning and say, I would want to go back working from on site. I know I can do it still, but there are hangups. The typhoon that happened like 2 or 3 a month ago, people were stranded. BPO workers are stranded who are working on site. So in my mind, how dare you for that company? I don't know if you're going to see this. Somebody might see it. I don't know. I don't care. But how dare you say that people are complacent and lazy or they're not gaining any knowledge when even some people are earning more than your CEO, right? So it's a spark out debate. Like I said, I respect people who work on site. If that's your stroke, that's your speed, by all means do it. But then again, don't complain that it's raining and I don't want to go to work because it's raining. Flood is here. You you wanted it. For me, I want working from home. I spend more time with my kids, spend more time with my wife, my family, while I'm doing my thing here, working from home, doing this podcast, and I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it, and I'm gaining knowledge every day as well. Because most of the time, my CEO, my boss will be telling me, Francis, I have to teach you a new process. So how's that being complacent, lazy, and not gaining any knowledge? So don't tell people who are freelancers, who are working from home, that we are that what you think you are. You're not bigger than the people working from home. No one is bigger than the other person. You're not a higher power. You're not the higher power. So don't tell people that what we're doing is good or better than you because it's not. To some people it's not. To most people it's not. And my take, if what makes you happy working from home, working on site, do it. But don't tell the other person that what we do here or what we do there is better than you because you don't know the other person. Don't judge people. Be curious, but don't judge people. I got that from Ted Lasso. Be curious, not judgmental. So don't judge other people, guys. And Bullet Club. So okay, so here's the thing. As I said earlier, I'm supposed to do an AEW review tomorrow, but that won't happen because AEW was shown a bit or during the NXT show. But I believe NXT again kicked their butts in terms of viewership and ratings and even the matches. I believe I've read the not the spoiler but the match result for AEW even, and there's no and it's their go home show going this Saturday for Wrestle Dream, which I think I'll be reviewing as well, watching and reviewing at the same time. And tomorrow will be a different. So it's not an AEW review show, but it'll be a debate or not really debate. I'm going to talk about the rivalry between WWE and AEW. Is there really a rivalry? Is there not? I believe last Sunday I have a tip of this, but it's more of the tip. Now it's going to be more an in-depth story on the WWE AEW rivalry. And what's my notes? Oh, my cell phone closed out. Give me 1 second.
Hmm.
Okay, so episode 5 is tomorrow. WWE AEW rivalry. Throwback Thursday. Which topic you will know on my shirt with what I'm wearing going to wear tomorrow. And movie opinion segment as well because we're pop culture. We talk about wrestling, pop culture, and life in general. So movie opinion for tomorrow is my favorite, my favorite and recommended top five movie trilogies of all time for me that I can recommend for you guys. So tomorrow episode 5 will be uh an interesting day, an interesting topic. Episode 6 will be on Friday. Also interesting topic, but I'll just tell you what the top topics will be in tomorrow during the episode 5 show. Now, if you're wondering why are my titles not really part of the conversation of the topics that I have, example, episode 4, I'm sorry, episode uh 4 is like A New Hope, and it doesn't even connect, to the topics because I want to do that. I just to mess up, and I got it from Star Wars, and I'm a Star Wars fan as well. So if you saw like episode 5 and a different, wordings, it's just me messing up. But yeah, so that's it for me. Again, for those, I'll be sending a link. I think I messed up the link earlier, but I'll be posting this link to the Pop Wrestling Podcast Facebook page. Follow me there. Also, follow me here on YouTube and on TikTok and in Instagram. And I'll be posting this link to the GC. Again, shout out to my co admins at Pro Wrestling Pinas, Gare, Lehi, Paulo, uh, Trey, Sarmil, Brandon. You guys rock. Thank you for the kind words that you're sending me to GC. The Jojo Alihar, I dealt with that during my 2009, 2010, 2011 uh, early BPO days because of my wavy hair. I have a wavy hair when it turns long. The shape of the face, I believe the eye bags as well, and talking. Sure, I like to talk. It's a detriment sometimes, but I like to talk. And so yeah, thank you for the kind words. Spread the word. Hopefully, a lot of people will be watching my podcast moving forward. And this is just my respect for Superman and Lois TV series because they're on their last season now, and it's basically the end of the Arrowverse. So it's Doomsday and Superman, and of course the greatest graphic novel or best-selling graphic novel of all time, that of Superman. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, listening to the Pop and Wrestling podcast with me. It's me, Coach 23. I'll see you guys and talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, Bullet Club.